everyone. Welcome to my weekly Meltdowns coverage of Survivor 43. Rest in peace, Coolio.
It's nothing.
Breaking
I'm sorry.
news.
It's not funny, but it was just like as if that was the name of the episode.
Listen, I'm a huge. That was my first go-to karaoke song was Gangster's Paradise, and I'm like, we're in the chat before this show starts, and randomly Tyler said, "Oh, Coolio's dead. He died in his friend's bathroom."
I'm talking hard strategy of who I think is going to go home, and then in the middle of it,
Right.
Tyler goes, "Yeah, I agree," but also Coolio died. And
He died in the detail. He died in his friend's bathroom. Do you know these people?
I checked the TMZ article, but what happened was I was like, oh, it was commercial break. I was like, I'm gonna check to see like any like videos of the hurricane or whatever. So I go on Twitter. I'm like, I'm sure it's just gonna be like trending on Twitter. And Coolio is trending like above the hurricane situation. I'm like, why is Coolio trending? I haven't heard that name in a few years. And then I saw the article. So there you go.
Coolio was in one of my favorite, like, irreverent nanny episodes of all time. He's literally in an episode of The Nanny in season 5 or 6. Oh my God. Now I'm in season 5.
Okay.
And it's a good one. It's ridiculous. And I love it.
I only really know him from the Kenan and Kel opening theme song. I think that's like my only experience with Coolio, really. So
not know him from Gangster's Paradise, from the movie with Michelle Pfeiffer in it. Michelle Pfeiffer was in the video with him. I can't with you children. Okay,
yeah,
I know him. I know him from Gangster's Paradise. I was just saying that my favorite thing from him was an episode of The Nanny.
You know who over here has got to do his thing and shit on it and go, oh, he was on she did the opening song for the Kenan show. The Burger Show on Nickelodeon?
Yeah.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. May I take your order?
Who loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda.
Come on, Melody.
I'm too old to be here.
Should we say hi to people in the chat?
Yes. Sorry. Whenever the three of us are reunited, it's going to be a shit show. We have a little bit of a slow episode here. We have some beads to talk about tonight. But we're just going to kind of be like bopping around, I'm sure. So hello to everybody in the chat. We have Matt Henning, we have Juan, we have Kylan, Linda. Sorry, I'm like... I also
elaborate on the beads.
Okay, there we go.
Well, no, I messaged you guys saying like I have some beads I can show you guys, because remember when Beth, you came over and you thought that Sora's dog toy looked like
do I remember? Do you remember when I was there 3 days ago and you said they're broken? See?
I can't. Wow.
And I said, how did they break, Tyler?
It's like 20 degrees hotter in here. I don't know what to say. Survivor 43. Beth, how are you feeling about the season? We haven't like talked to you yet about everything. So give us your first thoughts.
I missed last week. Sorry, y'all, because I was sick last week. Wasn't feeling great, and I fully was aware. And I fell asleep unintentionally at 7 o'clock and woke up at like 8:45 and was like, oh shit, my bad. I just slept through the episode.
Show tonight, you know.
Yeah. Listen, we are a team of professionals here.
We are so professional.
We never skip a beat.
But I will say, what I'm liking so far is I think we're kind of, as an audience, we're getting settled into this new kind of Survivor template in terms of both editing and gameplay. And I really like that we're getting, what?
Beth, did you not hear Jeff tonight?
What?
You can sleep when you go home. And I'm not talking about when you go back to camp.
I'm talking about when you go home. My favorite part about that, Jeff, I slept through the episode last week. I was home. Bitch, I took full advantage.
Jeff, I will sleep where I want.
The way I would have turned to Jeff and go, Jeff, you will yell at me when I tell you to. Not right now.
I would be living for that, Beth. I love when I almost said house guests. I love when castaways like give it back to Jeff Probst.
My
like,
favorite
like,
is
giving them a hard time.
There's a compilation on YouTube. It's actually there's 2 parts. Like there's a part 1 and part 2 that is sassy Jeff Probst moments from all of the 20s whatever season or like 20 years. I mean of the show. And one of the best ones is he goes, Penner, like the Penner's team drops the cannons, and he like they're shooting the wrong spot. And he goes, "Oh, lay off it, Jeff." And he goes, "What did you say?" He goes, "I said lay off it, Jeff." And he goes, Penner getting mad at me.
Like, no shit. I love how he just keeps his commentary going. Yeah, now I'm getting yelled at. Well, no shit.
Penner's getting mad at me.
My favorite is when Jeff said to Colby, he was like, "Do you want a piece of chocolate before the challenge starts?" And Colby's like,
"Nope,
let's get to the challenge." Yeah, and he's like, "I'll get to the challenge when we're ready, brother. Just wanted to offer you a piece of chocolate here." And Colby just has like the most like stern face. Right, it was so awkward.
Oh my god.
It's
just so good. Like sassy Jeff moments.
I love it.
Sure.
How was his hair tonight during Tribal? Am I the only one that noticed that he might have started? He's not dyeing it as much, and I like it. I'm there for the natural hair, Jeff.
I also like that. I like this length this season. It's a little long without being overly what the fuck.
It's not early 2000s, late 90s, choppy, flipped up with the flat iron. You know how people used to take that short hair and flip it with the flat iron, and it looked very, yeah.
You know what? I'm going to put it out there.
Do it.
Mullets are coming back, Jeff Probst. And if you want to make a statement to really capture that Gen Z audience, you should rock a mullet.
Sammy has the mullet this season. Like if he needs some like hair inspo, just look no further than the Yellow Tribe this season, right?
I love it. He's so good.
I'm going to share my screen for the castaways just so I can remember who everybody's name is in their tribe affiliation, because I'm still like trying to get the lay of the land here of everybody.
Yeah, let's also talk about throughout our whole chat tonight. I kept saying Janine when I meant Justine.
I was so confused by that, but I was so like,
sorry.
I don't know what I'm missing, because I kept thinking Janine's wait a minute, is she switching a tribe? Don't confuse me. It's already enough the show was on till 8:30. Y'all all know my mind exploded as soon as I looked at the timestamp, and I was like, 8:30. And then Tyler goes, I've been waiting all day for you to bring that up, Allison.
I was walking downtown earlier, and I was like, I bet you Allison doesn't know that it's an hour and a half tonight. I can't wait for her to figure it out.
I will say I was in camp. I found out after Allison. I found out because Allison said it in the chat, and I went, oh, okay.
There's no I in team, Tyler. There's no I in team.
No.
I mean, if you were to take the E and like just take like the little peg of the E off and just like
me,
you can make it an I.
No, he puts the E in me.
Well,
there isn't an I in team, but there is a me.
Well, speaking of E and A and N, I feel like those 3 letters are like blocking this like flesh-eating wound that Janine has on her chin in this picture here.
God, what happened to her chin?
If you were to take those letters away from there, like you would see, like I don't know what happened. Like, did she fall in the premiere? And
the first premiere, she in that first challenge, she skinned her when they were doing something with like the boat or whatever. I think she skinned her chin, and then it's been raining nonstop, so it hasn't had a chance to dry, and so it's unfortunate that it's just like really wet and such. But you know what, props to her, because I imagine that is probably such a point. If it were me, I'm sure it would be such a point of like you're in the first few days of the throes of the game, and you're probably still worried, like you have like the vanity probably still happening where you're like, I'm on television. I mean, you can't see what it looks like either.
I would be medevaced for that, because I can't have it on my face. Like there could be maggots living in her chin. Like I would be like, y'all need to come get me. If you're not going to squirt some peroxide on it or give me an ointment, then I need to go.
Do you think that they're cleaning it? Like, genuine question.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Do you think, okay, good.
Because that salt water hitting it, that salt water hitting it. Ooh.
Yeah,
I have to imagine, especially with how hard the rest of the game is, I think they've amped up the care for wounds and such a little bit. But even we don't see it on camera all the time, but normally doctors are checking those kind of things out and monitoring them. The only time that we really saw them come on camera was like Koa Wrong, when it was like, everyone's getting a medevac this season. Let's take a look at all of your scars and bumps and bruises and wounds and such. But
Rory said he would be medevaced for a splinter. Same, because it'd get infected. Look, Survivor 1, they weren't giving you ointment. The chick had, I've said it a million times, had maggots living in her knee. Yes. Where was the Australian hot doctors then? Where was Jeff telling her to dig deep then?
But he's saying dig deep. He's talking to the maggots. Dig deep,
the maggots to dig deep. Okay.
Dig, maggot, dig.
Yeah. Right.
Now he just sounds like he's like in the army or something.
Yeah.
But no, I think that this season's off to a solid start. I think that the storytelling, I'm really getting a good sense of who each person is in the tribe. And that's why it was abundantly clear to me, like before they even went to tribal, I was like, yeah, Justine's going. I called it. I knew it wasn't going to be NECA at all. Like, I thought it was definitely going to be Justine, because I'm going to be honest, Justine and Noelle come off as poor attitude, like nose in the air.
They kept cutting to Noelle like during the challenge. She's like rolling her eyes, like yelling at NECA specifically. Like I understand like NECA was probably like the least physically able in that challenge to help. I imagine that snake is probably like super, super heavy, but I mean, like I just, that's how like you win as a tribe, you lose as a tribe. And like, you don't like scold people like in that moment. And that's why we saw like the yellow tribe, like they're down a member and they ended up winning the challenge tonight because they're a lot more unified than this red team. I feel like the red tribe is like just all over the place. And I feel like they're going to be the messy tribe that's like going back to tribal like time and time again and just not able to trust each other. And it's a whole damn mess already.
When I look at that tribe, I think I only see Jesse for sure making the merge. Like I really like Jesse is quickly turning into one of my favorite characters on this season. I don't even like the fact that the premiere was like, oh, I don't trust Jesse anymore, makes me think that it's not gonna. That's like a red herring they do all the time. So I feel like that like further proves that Jesse's gonna be actually fine.
And whose team is he on? Whose team is he on? I'm just trying to figure out. There's no.
I think he was. I think he's
on Allison's team. There's a I in winner.
Yeah, I would know because I won last season.
Yeah. Oh, one time. Holy crap!
I'm
gonna hear that forever and a day.
Oh.
But no, I totally agree, Beth. Like Jesse is really impressing me as a player. Like socially, like he is really subtle at like getting people on his side, right? Like we saw Dwight tonight. We had another round of backstory for him, like having all this experience, like interviewing like really high like politicians in this nation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jesse was controlling him like very so like politically and subtly. Like he's creating this whole like I'm gonna propose to you, you're gonna be my island wife type of thing, and then also establishing we're in the pineapple zone. So what the pineapple zone means is we're just like telling each other like everything, like there's nothing left unsaid, and it's a judge-free zone. Like he's already creating that like in Dead by Daylight terms, like a circle of healing around him. Right, like that's what it feels like. He's like establishing is this like circle of trust. Like it's very impressive stuff, and it's very like under the radar, which I appreciate.
Do I think Cody was going home? What was the deal? Did I miss something when I went to Tinkle?
So here's what happened. Justine was just a fucking idiot tonight. I don't know where did voting for Cody happen? Like she and Noelle are supposed to be attached at the hip. They didn't even vote the correct way together. Like I honestly think Justine was just like used to getting away with I am a pretty girl who speaks her mind and it's just going to be what I say. And that came back to bite her in the ass. She didn't have to play strategic. Let's review how horrible of a game Justine had. And let's all shit on Tyler for saying she was the next Kim Spradlin.
And just so you know, Justine has an E on the end.
Yes. Justine has an E on the end.
So everyone knows.
Her main, she tells people I'm a good liar and I have a good lie face to people that she then comes back to and says, I don't know if I trust you, if you're going to do the right thing or not. So like not only tells
not
people,
just like a one-on-one conversation.
No,
it's like in like
front
a
of
group
somebody
setting.
else.
Right.
I'm a fucking liar. Like y'all. I lie. That's
Meanwhile-
like getting in a relationship and going, you know what? I'm a chronic cheater. I cheat constantly.
That's like
Just
first
so you know.
date. I just want you to know that
Yeah.
I cheat on my partners constantly.
Yeah,
and
I'm leaving here to go fuck someone else when we're
I
done.
can't wait to gaslight the shit out of
Yes.
you in our relationship.
Exactly.
By
But,
the way,
I'm the one
drinks
that,
are on
really
you. I
doesn't
forgot my
trust
wallet.
you. Right, exactly.
Like, but it's not even like she did it in a cute way. Like she went up, she was like, I don't know if I trust that you're going to do the right thing, which like pump the brakes a little bit. You're going to your first tribal. This is where you establish if you can trust people. And if you tell them that shit to their face in front of somebody else who you have not spoken game to, what a way for them to immediately go, yeah, you got to go. Like, in what world do you think that that's good gameplay? I honestly don't know what her deal is. The entire time she was on, like, literally, she was my least favorite person this entire cast as of last week. And then this episode, I went, ha ha, you got it. Like, bye bye.
Yeah.
Like,
But she's such a powerhouse, according to Tyler.
Well, okay, all right. Let's
Tyler,
just clear.
Tyler, what do you have to say for
air.
yourself here?
Yeah, I'm coming off of like such success with the draft here. I just have to bring it up yet again.
This is not
so
big bucks.
I was feeling philanthropic.
Wow, let's look at this draft though. You went from having the top 2 and not having any of your team touched until the final 5 of Big Brother to having the first 2 out of Survivor.
Listen, I was feeling charitable. I felt bad for you and Allison.
Mm-hmm.
Like neither of you have had a win in like years.
Years.
I was like, I'm gonna pick the worst people.
Really? Years?
I'm going to be honest with you, Tyler. I really think the only good person on your team right now is Lindsay.
Okay, can I unmute him now? Are we good? Is he?
Yeah.
Are you going to straighten up, Tyler? Are you straightening up?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. But Beth brings up a good point. Like Lindsay was my winner pick at the end of last week's episode. I said like her premiere edit like feels really good to me. We didn't really check in with her all that much, but I don't think we really needed to. We did hear from Carla tonight that Carla is really starting to trust what's her face, Cassidy and
Lindsay, and they're bringing in Jason. And so I think if they do bring in Jason, that's great for Jason on your team, but it's also really bad for Ryan on your team, which is not a good thing. And then you've got Gio, who is very interesting to me because I would argue last week he had one of the worst edits where people just seem to kind of like, besides Carla being like, yay, we're gay Latinos together, like there wasn't really anything about him that people were like, I made this connection with Gio. And they if anything, they were saying, oh yeah, he's weaker than everybody else. Like he's not pulling his weight, all those different kinds of things. And then today, we see a wonderful backstory with him. We see him find almonds, which I don't think we've ever seen people find, like, I was going to say nuts. And I feel like this crew would take that in a different way.
And it would go over like a wet blanket.
It's the only survivor in history to find nuts.
To find these nuts.
In a tree. Unless you're counting looking up and seeing Ozzy fully naked in a tree.
Do you want to bite? Do you want to taste my sweaty balls?
They're moister than I thought they would be.
Moist when they've been on the Survivor Island, marinating in the sun.
This is incredible. They really just melt right in your mouth.
They just like in swallowing them. I just go down so easy.
Yeah,
Gio's picture here, like I'm just imagining him like saying all this in his ASMR voice. Like
Who
his
is?
face in that picture, Gio, like his face in that picture that's up. He's like, yeah, I found those sweaty balls.
Also,
I'm not good at the ASMR like y'all are.
I'm just putting it out there. What we're trying to do is make fun. Tyler, do you know the Sweaty Balls?
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live?
No. So
No, of course not. Then never.
This is an old 90s iconic, one of the most iconic sketches from SNL.
Alec Baldwin in it.
Alec Baldwin plays like Pete Schweddy or whatever his name is. And
Mm-hmm.
the other two are Anna Gasteyer and
Kristen Wiig. Is it Kristen Wiig?
No. This was before Kristen Wiig's time. And Molly Shannon.
Oh yeah.
And they're NPR voice jockeys, and they have a special guest on, Pete Schweddy, who's going to come on and talk to us a little bit about some of his pastries that he's made today. And they're like, so they start talking about his Schweddy balls.
These are the special Schweddy Christmas Schweddy balls. They've been dipped and they're in glitter, and they've got an extra Christmas tang.
Yeah, your balls are surprisingly sweet. I thought they'd be a little saltier.
These sweaty balls are beautiful Christmas blue. There's a couple of blue sweaty balls over here.
My favorite part, though, is when he says something along the lines of like, he's like, so what happened with this one? And he's like, that one I left on the burner for a little bit too long. It's a little misshapen.
This ball's misshapen.
So good. And then they did it again years later with Betty White, who came in and she was Mrs. Dusty, and she's like, yes, welcome and have some of my dusty muffin.
This is my dusty muffin. It's a little dusty. That's okay.
That's funnier to me. Okay. A dusty muffin. That's hilarious.
Speaking of which, there is a guy running for office in Oakland, Tennessee, and I am going to. This is not a lie. This is, look it up. He's running for ambassador or something in Oakland, Tennessee. His name is Harry Dyke. However, his nickname is Pinky, so it's Harry Pinky Dyke. I drove my mom home today after a doctor's appointment to Oakland, and I said, Mom, I've seen 2 signs for Harry Pinky Dyke. She's like, I know, that sounds kind of like a dirty lesbian. I just ran off the road.
Leave it to Tennessee.
I said, I'm going to go steal one of these signs. She's like, oh, you'll go to jail for that. Yes, but it'll be worth it for the judge to say, Allison Kelly stole a Harry Pinky Dyke sign.
Oh, man.
Bucket list. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I'm telling you.
Where do we go from here?
I want to know that this quickly went to a BS breakdown. Like, we aren't even covering Survivor anymore. I will say this. When I look at the cast of who's here, the people I really haven't heard too much from are Jay.
Yeah.
And that's it. And Cassidy. Jay and Cassidy, I really haven't heard much from, I felt like, in the first couple of episodes. And that makes sense because the Blue Tribe really hasn't had to go to tribal or anything like that. So I'm looking forward, but we've definitely heard from Carla, Ryan, Lindsay, and Gio. So it's an interesting thing that tells me that Carla, Ryan, Lindsay, or Gio are going home first on that tribe. And it also tells me that the others are going far.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a bold prediction here. Gio's edit reminds me a lot of Romeo from, was it last season or 2 seasons ago? The losing finalist, because he didn't have his edit in the first episode. You're right, was pretty negative, and then he gets a story here. So we have a bad first impression of him, and then we have something to root for him for. But whenever we're looking at the game of it all, right? For that tribe, it's always from Carla's perspective that we're hearing it from. Like whether it's like I'm bonding with Gio on like a really personal level, but we're still like bonding, and that's like a good sign for me in this game. I'm worried about my first impression in this game. Like it's all about like her positioning, right? And then we hear her positioning tonight. She's like, I'm actually closer with the girls now because I'm feeling a little left out of Gio and Ryan. And I don't know if that's like, I don't know if Carla's feeling that way because she had like such a good first impression bond with Gio, and she feels like a little betrayed that he's a little tighter with Ryan now after like they're like the two LGBT like Latinos in the cast. Like I don't know if that's like a little jab to her. I don't know. You know what I mean? So
I think it's interesting. So far? I mean, I love Carla. I as a narrator for that tribe, she's great. And to me, that there's a clear narrator on each tribe. You have Carla for blue, you have Jesse for orange, and you have Ellie for yellow. And we got to hear from more than just Ellie this time. We had a lot from Gabler. We had a lot from Owen. We had not as much from Sammy. And we didn't really hear like anything we heard from Janine. It was because she was with Ellie, but Ellie is still setting up who is with whom, like who is playing the game and who isn't. And that's what I think is really interesting. And so I feel like the narrators have to have follow through in some capacity. I think it'd be weird for them to set up Carla, Ellie, and Jesse, and then they're voted out next week. So whether, I don't know if there's a tribe swap or something and they get voted out then, or if it's at a merge, I can see that happening. I typically think that the people who are the narrators for the tribe don't necessarily win. Yeah. But they go far.
I agree with that because like they showed Ellie not finding the idol tonight. She like walked by it. They like showed like the little like highlight thingy, and I was like, oh, Ellie girl, no, turn around, please find this. You need this right now.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that Owen, and I said this in the chat, he's kind of my spirit animal this season because he's getting the water and he's carrying it and he's talking to himself and he's giving himself a pep talk. And I'm like, I am so into this because I do this all the time. And then he goes, and those fuckers are probably, because he said fuckers. He said those are looking for idols right now. Oh my God. And I was like, right? I feel you, Owen, because you're getting water and providing and looking like you peed your pants.
Which, like, let's talk about that for a second. He's like, great, now it looks like I peed my pants. You're on Survivor. Like, that is the least of your worries. Also, you could just get in the ocean and get your entire, like, shorts wet. Like, that's the least of what you should be thinking about. What I love is the confessional, because I think that we as the audience, if we didn't know from Ellie and Janine's perspective of how he is around camp, we think that he has a lot of confidence or whatever. What we're learning is that he's a Beth Dixon, where a little bit of adversity makes like a like reaction. And we're learning that because they're literally talking to him about him as if he is a child.
I think like him like stumbling with like the pot of water and he's saying like don't spill it, and it's like spilling out like everywhere. I feel like that's gonna be a big metaphor for Owen's game this season, is like not being able to keep like all of his like ducks in a row and like constantly having to like
I see him as the third merge boot. Like that's where I see him. I see him making it to merge and being a relatively early merge boot. Like that's what I think is interesting. And I love, who was it in the chat? I think it was, Henning says, I think Ellie and Janine are realizing, fuck, Gabler isn't leaving. Yeah, because you were given a platter last week where he wasn't going to use his idol. He was going to use a shot in the dark. And I didn't get to come on the podcast, but I'm going to come out here and say that was the dumbest fucking move I've ever seen a tribe do in my entire life. You had someone who literally was basically volunteering to throw a die and give up their vote. And they already have an idol. Why wouldn't you take the shot? Why did you have to go for Mariah, who you had a good trust with for the first couple of days? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, no, fuck Mariah. Like, what was that? I don't get it.
Well, they're probably regretting it now, considering he's walking around aching and hurting everywhere with nasty prune feet.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was
needed to see that.
it's not even like keeping Gabler was like tribe strong either, right?
No!
Like we saw him like just like physically totally shut down, and they're still so worried because of this stupid idol that hasn't been played, that they're like, it's only episode 2 and they're having to like search through his bags and like cross these like moral boundaries. Like they would not be in any of this situation if they kept her and just voted out Gabler and had it like be a nice, easy vote. And then Owen and Sammy are at the girls' will, and they probably still would have won the challenge tonight as well. So they would be sitting pretty. They would be sitting a lot prettier.
It would be really interesting. I really am looking forward to next week's episode where it looks like Owen just flat out tells Gabler that, you know, Janine went through his things to like reread the clue, which like, Owen, you were a part of that. So there's a part of me that's like, hey, that's a good gameplay if you want to get out ahead of it. But also, why would you want to align with, if there's somebody who has an idol that's only good for one more tribal, and they're arguably the weakest person on your team right now, why do you align with that person who is a ticking time bomb to leave? You're better strengthening up your relationship with Ellie and Janine. And if anything, you should be trying to like break up Sammy and Mike a little bit more.
Yeah. Am I the only one that noticed that when it rains really hard, Sammy can go to the store and have his mommy pick him up?
What the fuck was that? I just go to the convenience store and I wait for my mom. I was like,
I'm like, what? Hello.
I was like,
what are you doing in the streets, Sammy? What are you doing?
I like this idea that it's just like, you know, when it rains, I go to a convenience store and I wait for my mom.
Like, what are you doing in the streets, Sammy?
It was a cute moment.
He is only 19. But no, like Owen telling Mike or Gabler or whatever the news next week that Janine like did go through his stuff and everything, that actually puts Sammy in like the best like swing position.
100%.
So if Owen's
that
trying
doesn't
to like
help
get himself
Owen at all.
Right, exactly.
I am so not impressed with Owen at all this season. In terms
and he's
of
an RHAP patron.
I know.
He should know better.
He should know better, and I feel bad about that. But I'm just like, Owen. I want this to be like the worst that you play, and then like you get better.
I'm an RHAP whatever patron too. That doesn't mean I know shit.
That is very fair. But like we even see like
Thank you.
I mean, I'm gonna call a spade, but no, like I mean, like we saw even Ellie tonight. She's like, I have to treat like my 2 kids like a little differently. Mm-hmm. Like Owen's like the little like more like temperamental like older one that needs a little more attention and validation. I'm literally gonna like pat his head, like tell him he's okay. So that could all come to a blow like next week. It looks like, and I agree. Like Owen is just not. Like he was like so high on like not only our drafts but like pretty much every draft that I saw online on like Twitter and YouTube and stuff like that. I just I need him to just like calm down and keep the water in the bucket metaphorically.
Listen, he's on my draft.
Mm-hmm.
Give him time, he'll be fine. Everyone's gonna be okay. It's just, you know.
I also love the mansplaining for the Hawaiian sling thing tonight. Like Ellie was trying to be like, no, you just have a rope to like pull it back, and he's like, oh no, it's gonna land in the sand. So it's I can't wait to see next week him lose it, and then Ellie in confessional being like, I told you so.
So here's the thing. Let's remember that when I did my draft, I didn't watch any interviews. I didn't read anything other than just like where they were from, what their occupation was, and all that kind of stuff, right? He is so not what I envisioned he would sound like. He sounds like an older surfer dude. Like, yeah, bro. So like I have climbed a lot of mountains and like I'm a heart surgeon. He seems like a fascinating human being. But like he's just not channeling that.
He's fascinating. That was a little aggressive.
He's fascinating.
Fascinating human being.
I do think he's fascinating, but the thing about it is just like he's not translating that into good social gameplay right now. And I think one of the things that behooves everybody, and this is going to be, if I ever were to play in a game like this, which is not going to happen, but if I ever were to, I would be so the pot calling the kettle black in this moment. because you have to be able to take that personality that you have where like shit and kind of throw that out the window. One of the best ways to make bonds with people is to listen to them, and if they're giving advice, to go, oh yeah, okay, great. And I would so have to suppress the like, I fucking know how to do this, Sharon. Let me just do it. Portion of my brain.
You also have to think, Beth, you are a woman who has like been conditioned to like have these thoughts for your entire life. Like Gabler, I'm sure is not used to like a woman telling him like, this is probably how you should do this.
I thought you said his name was Gabler. That's what I was started to laugh.
I can't call him Gabler. I keep saying Gobbler. Every time they say Gabler, I'm like, Gobbler?
The Gabler of fire.
I'm just, this is Southern in me. Like, I'm not saying Gabler. I'm over here going Gobbler.
Cody sounds, I can't even place that accent.
Okay, like, did you hear what I said about him last week? He is what would have happened to Matthew McConaughey had the showbiz thing not worked out.
Okay.
He's got an Eric Bana look to him. It's like Eric Bana.
He looks exactly like Eric Bana.
And Matthew McConaughey touched tips and made a magical baby. And it's Cody.
But here's the thing. He doesn't have a Texas accent. He's from Iowa, which should have like this almost like pure Midwestern kind of accent. And it's not. It's like, it's almost like, I don't know who's, he almost has like a JoJo Siwa like
it's
to
like,
his voice.
It's like Alaskan Bush. It's like Alaskan Bush people have their own language and accent and stuff. It's like, that's what Cody has because he's a traveler. And he's just like, wherever he is, he picks up that accent.
Right. I want to just point out, I'm not trying to make fun of people for their accents or anything. It's just that these were people who like so did not sound like how I expected them to. So it like really kind of was like, oh, whoa, if I were on the beach with them, I would have to like take a moment to realize like how wrong I was with these preconceived notions. And that for me would give people actually an advantage in getting to know me. Because I would already be like, policing myself like, Beth, you already were wrong once. Like, that would be my biggest game, like faux pas, I feel like in any of these games.
I just look at Sammy and I feel like I should hear some kind of Wisconsin-ish kind of accent.
I just keep picturing Zach Rance when I see his face.
I just feel like I need to hear some
and
kind
I don't like it.
See, I thankfully don't see Zach Rance when I look at him.
Wow.
God bless. Maybe I just need another week or two. But what did you guys think of? Go ahead, Beth.
I'm sorry. I just was going to say, did you take all of these photos and stills or were they publicized somewhere?
It's from Reddit. I don't know why Lindsay's face is like zoomed in like 5 times.
Okay. I was going to say, I don't even care about the zoomed in. They really went for Noelle complains about everything. Noelle's a sourpuss.
She's the Debbie Downer group.
I did call that preseason. I said she's going to be super competitive, a huge attitude, a huge ego, and her downfall in this game is going to be nothing to do with her leg. And I'm happy to report I was right about that. I don't see Noelle being here for very long.
I'm going to be very interested to see how well she does in the game with Justine gone. This could be actually a really good thing for her. And Dwight could be the one on the outs next, So it could be if he's going to do this whole thing where I trusted Jesse and blah, 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 blah. Well, Jesse is definitely in with Cody and Nika now because they were clearly working together so that Cody could get his beads and such, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no way that Dwight can turn Jesse away from them. And there's no way that they would like just not go with Jesse anymore. So that leaves Noelle and Dwight. And if they're all thinking together, Noelle might come and go, well, Dwight was voting with us and all these things. That was my girl. But like, what does that say about Dwight that he was with you? Like she could turn on the competitor and I could see her weaseling her way in. But I agree with you. I don't know if she goes pre-merge or early merge, but I don't see her going super, super far in this game.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I think that Cody, like, I thought it was really smart, actually, that Cody shared the whole, like, beware advantage with Jesse. I was wondering like why he didn't share that with NECA, but I was like, it makes sense. Like he has a lot more strategically to gain by telling Jesse, like proving that loyalty to him. So I think you're right. Like going into next week, I think it's going to be Noelle, and I think like Dwight will probably be like considered as like a backup option. I think it's going to be Cody, Jesse, and NECA like making the decision for the next vote. But
and if
I think it's
Noelle
going
is
to be
smart,
Nicole, or Noelle.
If Noelle is smart, she warms up to Jesse and Cody and get in with the two of them, right? Because I don't think that she's going to get in with NECA.
I don't see that happening at all. She seems a little icy.
I really enjoyed NECA. Like, you know how I'm like all about the body language. Like it tells you like so much. Like I loved when she was pointing out that body language. She was like, right, we got back from the challenge and we lost. Like they won't even look at me. Like Noelle is literally like hips and feet like facing like away from her while she's like looking down, like speaking to her. I'm like, how more obvious can you be? Like that's who you're targeting. So I'm glad that NECA like identified that and pointed that out to the boys.
Listen, 90% of communication is nonverbal.
Yep.
It's in your tone, it's in your facial expressions, it's in your body language, it's in how loud you're talking, it's all those different things. The things that aren't actually the words themselves. And the sooner that people realize that communication is receiver oriented, doesn't matter how you mean it, matters how it comes across. And you need to adjust how you are communicating, both from your body and your face and everything, so that it appeases the person you were talking to. The sooner you realize that, the more successful you are in games like this. But the best part about Survivor is that it strips you down. You're hungry, you're tired, you're injured, you're not doing well, and it's hard to keep face. And that's what I think I like the most about this game.
You want to hear a fun fact I heard the other day on Twitter?
No.
Purple Kelly made it more days in Survivor than Marianne did.
Okay, who's Purple Kelly again? I forgot.
From Nicaragua.
She notoriously got like pretty much like no confessionals like the whole season. She's like
it's because she quit.
Right, exactly.
Production's not going to spend time on her and first of all, she was also a blah character until she quit. Like she was just a dumbass. Sorry about it, but
just very irrelevant. But I don't know. Modern Survivor, it's a short season.
Short season for sure.
Yeah.
So when you look at the three tribes, who do you think is the next one out from each tribe? If each tribe went to tribal next week, which we know that's not going to be the case, but if blue tribe went, who do you think goes? If orange tribe went, who do you think goes? Yellow, that kind of thing.
So I think Jay goes out of the blue tribe, and I think that's going to be Carla's influence over everybody. I said in the premiere that like she kind of reminds me of like Sandra Diaz-Twine in her like approach and her like energy. So I hope she just like continues to like be the boss ass bitch that I know she can be. And
so why would she get Jay out?
So she has the girls, right? And then she's also close with Gio and Ryan. So why not?
No. In this episode, she said she's pulling Jay in to move away from Gio and Ryan. So that she's threatened by Gio and Ryan together.
Yeah, I mean, like, so if that's the case, then I think like take out Ryan because you have a better working relationship with Gio that you can salvage after that. And then you can just like blame it on the girls. Like they had their minds made up that it had to be Ryan. Yeah. I don't know, and just bring in Jay for that. I think Ryan.
I think it would be Gio over Ryan because they clearly depend on Ryan for physicality and not so much for Gio. So if she's going to get everybody on board, they're probably going to have to go for who is not a part of the foursome, and also probably try to show like, oh, I don't have an allegiance here. Like,
yeah. I also like, I don't know why, but I see Gio as somebody that is capable of finding idols like super easy. Like he reminds me of like a Tai Trang in terms of like just his like natural abilities like in nature, in outside, and Tai was like so crafty about like finding idols and like climbing trees and stuff like that. We saw a little bit of that with the whole nut gate tonight. So I don't know if that could translate
Please
into
don't call it nut gate.
Yeah, nut gate is not a good one, Tyler.
When he found almonds.
He found almonds. He can easily find idols too.
I don't know. I think the Blue Tribe is hardest to predict just because we haven't really seen them in action. They haven't had to go to tribal yet, so.
Yeah.
What do you think, Allison?
Who I think is going home?
For the Blue Tribe.
The Blue Tribe.
I haven't paid enough attention to the Blue Tribe, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to jump on the J train.
Mm-hmm. I think if Carla doesn't pull in Jay, then he's the obvious odd man out. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there. What about for the Orange Tribe? Allison, who do you think would go next in the Orange Tribe?
Noelle.
Yep.
I think it's Noelle, and I think
it's definitely
Noelle. We're gonna get like a red herring segment about like them considering Dwight, but I'm not gonna fall for it. I think it's Noelle.
Yeah, I could see it being Noelle. I think something would have to go. Like she would have to play the fuck out of the game, and I think she could do it. But I think that it's possible to do it. I don't know if she can do it. That's the thing I'm trying to say, I guess.
I don't know. Some like really rubs me the wrong way about her. And I had that like impression like even before the first episode started. Mm-hmm. So I just there's just something like she's just a little bit of an attitude. I don't know. Little cocky.
I think that there's something to be said when you are a world-class competitor and you have to also deal with the fact that as a Paralympian, I can only imagine that there's a certain level of kumbaya that happens with all Olympic athletes, and especially from like disabled athletes, there's got to be a certain level there, but there's also got to be a certain level of proving yourself that probably is even more competitive in many ways than just being like a quote unquote normal Olympian, whatever that even means. I mean, these are all superhuman people. I would argue that Paralympians are, in my opinion, are like way, way more impressive in so many capacities. But I also think that there's got to be a competitive chip on the shoulder that comes with that. And so I think that that's probably what it is with her.
Yeah.
What about the Yellow Tribe?
That's tough. I don't know. Like it should be Gabler, and like if it's not Gabler, like I'm gonna be like, come on, guys. Like we will look back to that moment and say, this is where Ellie fucked up. This is where Owen fucked up. This is where Janine fucked up. This is where Sammy fucked up. And
they fucked up.
Like if those four stick together, they could be a very winning tribe. Like I know that I think they said that they're not tribe swapping at all. This season.
Okay. Are they not?
So these are their people until the merge. And if they get Gabler out next, like that, Owen, Sammy, Ellie, and Janine are a very solid, strong four that can.
I will really say this though, he has an idol that he can use at the next tribal counselor. So if he goes rogue and's like, oh, I'm not going to play my idol, I'm going to do a shot in the dark again, then vote his ass out. Like, that's amazing. Give him the one opportunity to have the one vote, because if he does get that 1 out of 6 chance and he gets safety, then at the end of the day, that was like fate and destiny. That had nothing to do with gameplay. But I think he would be dumb. And I think that he realizes now that he has to play the idol when he goes, regardless if he thinks he's in trouble or not. So I think it's hard to say that Gabler goes next. If he doesn't play the idol when he goes to tribal next, that's one of the worst, if not the worst, Survivor move of all time.
Right, especially because like it expires after like that next tribal. Like,
and everybody knows it.
Right, exactly. Like I don't care how safe I am, like especially if everybody knows it. You're right, Beth. I'm playing that idol. If it's expiring, like why not just like ensure that you're safe? Like it's like
because you want a souvenir,
right?
You know what you could also take as a souvenir? $1 million fucking dollars.
Yeah, I'd rather have that souvenir. Okay.
Yeah.
Like oh yeah, this is the idol. Well, guess what? I can go back and watch on television that I held it. I don't need to actually physically have it if I'm swimming in a pool of money.
Yeah.
Like
so, I don't
Scrooge
know.
McDuck.
But if it's not Gabler, like, do we think it's Owen?
It's got to be Owen or Sammy. I mean, the three boys did have that moment that was, I feel like, a little underrated, where they were like, well, if any of the girls try to pull us in, then we come to each other. Maybe it is Ellie or Janine, but I have a hard time believing that the boys could really pull it off. I think the girls are just so much smarter than them and know how to manage them. And I really think that it would be like Sammy, Ellie, and Janine go for Mike or Owen, or Owen, Ellie, and Janine go for Sammy or Mike. Like, I think that that's what's going to end up happening. If Mike doesn't use Idol, he goes.
I got the opposite read on that scene, because like the girls, like in the tall grass, they're like, are the guys even strategizing? Like, I don't know. I don't think so. They don't have their shit together. And then they cut to Sammy, Mike, and Owen. Like, it was a very, like, it wasn't like Carla on the Blue Tribe being like, all right, the girls are sticking together. Like, yes, we saw Sammy like lead the conversation with the boys, but it was still very much so like, oh yeah, of course. Like, it was a mutual exchange between the three guys. And then they like cut back to the girls being like, yeah, we definitely have the strategic level up. They'll never, like, they don't know that we're like working together. Like, so that worries me that the girls are going to be like a little overconfident going into next week, and maybe the target turns on Janine, and Ellie doesn't see that for whatever reason. That could be a situation too. So I don't know. It could be Janine next week. Janine or Owen or Gabler. I think Sammy's going to be in a really good position next week.
I think Sammy's in the best position on the tribe. So
interesting.
Very interesting.
If who's your winner pick?
That's what I was gonna ask too. You know, now that we're week 2, you know, I feel like for me, purely based off of last week and this week, I really am liking Jessie. I'm really liking Jessie. I'm also really liking Carla. Cody has surprised me. I don't think he's a winner pick. But I could see him go far. I don't see. I see Ellie going far. I mean, there's people in my mind who I'm like, these people go far and these people just don't. Like, and I can see that.
Yep.
I just have a hard time choosing who's the winner. We didn't.
Ellie and Jessie feel too good to be true. That's how I'm feeling.
They're like them. The Shans of the edit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like if you are the like the really narrator for your tribe in the beginning of the game, it does not work out for you for $1 million.
That could be bad news for Carla too.
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like you have to go for somebody who's like a Lindsay or like a Dwight or a Cody, maybe. I don't even know if Cody's right. I see Sammy as being one of the best positions on the Yellow Tribe, for example, where he's not calling the shots, but he's instrumental in them. He was instrumental for sure in that first episode, and then he was able to take a back seat. And I think that's really important to be able to cover up your threat level again. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But
let's update the drafts.
Yes. So here is ours one more time. So I lost my second person today, but we'll see. I'm feeling good about Lindsay. That's pretty much the only person I feel good about on my whole team, to be quite honest.
Oh my God, your entire team's on one tribe. Who's left?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. So I better hope that Blue stays on.
Continues to win. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What a crazy change of events for your draft. It's like the polar opposite of what just happened on Big Brother.
I know, right? I had to spread the wealth.
I feel like Allison has Jessie, who's clearly a narrator. And I've got 2 of the narrators. I don't know. I feel like it's really still too early to tell, but I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm liking my draft here. So
I love mine, except Noelle. I didn't pick her. I just got her at the end because that was all was left.
No. I'm gonna say you had a choice between Noelle and Cassidy, and
that's
I'm
right.
like a bandit, baby.
Listen,
Allison's like that's no choice.
Yeah, they're both goners. They're both redcoats. Whatever, purples, purple people, purples.
Purple Kelly.
The purple Kellys.
And then here is our patron draft. So Liza lost her last pick with Janine. So we'll see. We'll see. Everybody's feeling good about Ellie. Everybody's feeling good about Carla, Jesse. So we'll see.
No, see what happens.
Any more thoughts before we head on out of here?
No. Next week,
Beth and I were talking, Allison. When you visit in New York, that might be the finale week of Survivor. So if that's the case, all three of us will have to do like an in-person show.
All three of us will just be sitting together.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just sit in your lap. I'll sit in someone's lap.
Oh my God, we can sit on my couch.
Oh, we'll sit on the couch.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God, that'd be so fun.
We're gonna have a couch chat. It'll be fun.
Well, we have to do it like Gen Z TikTok style. Like we have to have like the small mic that we like bring up to our mouth.
Survivor 43
it's
finale date. It's giving.
You two are gonna be high as a kite, and I'm gonna be running the shit all by myself. Y'all are gonna be out of it. Your neighbors across the street are gonna be having sex. Y'all are gonna be. It's gonna be a shit show.
Yeah, we don't have an end date for it, but I feel like they normally end it the second week of December.
Yeah, so it very well could work out that way.
Just saying.
I'll be in my jammies.
Oh my God, can we have a PJ party?
Oh my God,
we'll be in our jammies.
A PJ party. I'm telling you, Tyler, one night you should spend the night over here, and like it's like the three of us just have like. We'll watch Survivor. We'll do the finale, but then we're gonna watch Twilight.
I'm gonna watch Twilight. Oh,
okay, all right, yeah, that could be like a patron show. Like we all watch Twilight, and I'm like high as fuck. I've never seen Twilight, so I'm gonna be like, what is?
I bitch constantly.
I'm probably just gonna talk about like how blue the film is. That's like
blue.
What's with the fucking filters they're using here?
Yeah. Wait, ready from the second movie. There's a possibility.
There's a possibility. No, you gotta do it like.
What if her whole suitcase just like fell behind her?
Oh no. Oh, that would crush her, literally.
No, not on her. Like scary movie style. Like it would like all the stuff would like slowly just fall off.
It just like, who the fuck did that?
Exactly.
What happened?
Tyler goes, what if that bookcase just fell? And I thought he meant on you. And I was like, that would crush her. That's not funny. And he was like, no. Oh, man.
It's like, no, in a comical way.
Yeah, wishful thinking, okay? Fuck you.
Oh, my God.
I see
how it is. I'm just noticing things that are hanging around now that I did my Kirsten Stewart Dunst spin. Because they're both creepy looking, but that's another show.
There's a possibility. I can't wait for Tyler to watch.
I hope it freaking starts snowing while we're watching it so we can spin in the chair. Look, it wasn't snowing and now it is.
You have to have this look the entire time.
But she sits like this, like she's all with her legs open, like the alien abduction skit from Saturday Night Live.
She has the one leg up here.
Yeah. And she's just sitting like, and she's like this.
Yeah.
Oh, we're hot. We should probably end. This concludes our Twilight Survivor 43 coverage.
Yes, that's just a preview of the shit show to come when we're all together in person.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next Wednesday to talk episode 3 of Survivor, and then I think next Thursday is when we do the challenge documentary. Now that it will be complete next week, so can't wait to watch more of that while Allison is spinning around.
Can't wait.
All right. Well, everybody have a good rest of your night. Take care. Bye-bye.